Now, porch now. Okay, we are here. Testing, testing. Mic 1 2 1 2. We live right now. Yeah, that's me. This is Oki at Everyday Beans. Today is, what's today? Don't know what today is. Today is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. And all is well. We're doing pretty good. Just woke up, had a good day yesterday. And now we are here just doing a podcast. So I think I like trying to do these podcasts every Sunday, my video podcasts, and it seems like it's going pretty well. So we're just gonna keep it up. So yeah, it's Sunday, doing pretty good. As you can see, I got me a new mic. I guess this is gonna be my flagship mic. If you know, you know. But let me know how I sound. Hopefully, it's not too crazy, but we shall see how that works. Syncing with the road right here, making sure everything gets picked up. And then we also have our cup of coffee. I'm trying to incorporate coffee more into these coffee podcasts, right? So all is well. There are a couple things I want to talk about, but let's go ahead and taste this coffee real quick. Okay, let it cool down. I did go a little bit finer on the grind, and I think that's what I'm tasting. More acidity, bitterness on this coffee. This is a blend. This is a blend between the Honduras coffee and also the Peruvian coffee. And I may have gone too far with the grind. I really don't like that type of bitterness that it does produce. That's probably coming more from the Peruvian, actually. But it's a blend. It's a 50-50 blend. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to play around with. I did a video that's probably going to come out in the next couple of weeks. I have like 4 or 5 videos that are already done, but I need to edit those. And I did one yesterday about blends. And then today is going to be about the Mr. Coffee machine. And then later in the week, I'll work on the YouTube video that actually went out today, a couple of hours ago. So for now it's about roasting and all that good stuff, right? So we're doing pretty good. No real complaints. Amazon's still the same thing, which is fine. I just check it. I'm not even emailing my associate, my representative, because right now that's not really my focus. My focus is actually YouTube. So I'm trying to get better at that, up my game on editing, storytelling, as they say, and really just have fun with it. I think that's going to be the biggest kicker when I do all these things, is that I still need to have fun with this, because if I'm not having fun and I'm just producing things, then it's going to be more so like the topic that we're going to be talking about. The topic is about why I don't care about industry standards, protocols. To an extent, I do, but I don't. So I think for a more provocative type of title, I may say, I don't give a fuck about SCA, something like that. And I'll explain the reasons why I'm saying that. I don't even think I'm like a bad boy of the coffee industry, at least not yet. But there's a lot of things that I don't do that are protocols or industry standards that people do. And I do want to talk about that, touch about that. But one of the things that I do want to talk about right now, which is interesting, is that a lot of people say when they drink coffee at times, especially coffee roasters. One of the things they like to mention, if the coffee does have it, is what is it? Tea like, oolong, black tea. I try to stay as far as I can from those type of coffees. I used to be a tea drinker. I used to love tea. I used to geek out and go to different places and get different teas and all that, right? My wife, then girlfriend, she's the one who really got me into coffee. So I'm a tea guy. I was a tea guy. And I mainly just take tea whenever I'm sick, you know? So I don't like the taste of tea on coffee. There's very similar elements of it, but if a coffee tastes like tea, especially from the importers that I get the coffee, if they say that that's in their descriptor, I tend to lean far away from those coffees because I don't want to taste tea in my coffee, so to speak. I don't know about you, but if you're on here, I'm sure you are a coffee drinker, maybe a tea drinker too, but just me, personal preference. So for the most part, you won't get any descriptors or anything like that from me when I mention anything. It won't say tea. You may get tea sometimes, but that's your palate. That's the way you taste. That's what you're tasting. But I just don't like when people say tea like. And I'm not saying that it's not present in coffee because at times it is, depending on the coffee. But that's not a flavor profile that I will want to present to people who are drinking coffee, especially people who are really trying to get into coffee because coffee is an interesting game, right? The reason why I say that is because there's so many different ways to enjoy coffee. A lot of times when people drink wine, for instance, they drink it straight up for what it is for the most part. They don't change it. They don't really do anything else to it. Sangria is a little different where it's promoted and that's the way the culture is. That's the way that it was developed and enjoyed. Okay. But with coffee and even tea, it's one of those beverages to where it is enjoyed all many different ways. And that's the beauty of it, right? You can put alcohol in it. You can put additives in it. You can drink it straight up. You can have less water, more water. You have different ratios. You can put fruit in it if you wanted to. You have different combinations as ice brewed coffee or cold brew, espresso, mocha pot, different parameters, different things. And then, of course, you have the varieties of the different type of coffees, right? And then that's the beauty of coffee, I think, is that you can enjoy it in so many different ways. But as you do that, it's kind of really hard to make a recipe or thing for people to truly, really see for what it is, as it is. But that's the thing about it. People enjoy it the way they want to. So I don't know really where I was going with that, but coffee is very interesting in that realm. And as we understand and try to give people coffee, a lot of times what I'm understanding or what I get from people, especially putting myself back into that position of being a coffee person for the very first time, is that it can be very off-putting. You know, you go to the grocery store, you pick up a bag of coffee, it looks interesting, like a wine glass maybe, and you pick a cup of coffee. Not a cup of coffee, you pick a bag of coffee, and then you make a cup of coffee in the brewer that you're using. And then you either like it or you put something on it or you're still like kind of indifferent to it. And I think that's one of the things that we have to realize And what I mean by we is I'm not just talking about coffee professionals. I'm talking about the coffee community, the people who enjoy coffee each and every day. I may sell it to you, or you may think to buy it from me, or you may get ideas and tips and tricks from the videos that you do watch from me about coffee. But you're just one important piece of the lineage of coffee, you know? And I'm not even talking about the harvesters, the growers, the people who actually put in the actual work, harvesting the coffee, growing the coffee, processing the coffee. And then the importers, the exporters, and everybody in the coffee chain, and how this drink is pretty much at our fingertips. And if it goes up slightly, it's still a better deal than anything that you may get. And that's the thing that I'm trying to understand more. Not necessarily try to give that to people, because people are different. People want what they want. They like what they want. And that's the beauty of enjoying a cup of coffee. And the beauty of coffee too is that it's a community type of thing. I don't really like that word because it can mean hollowness. It can mean a good marketing spill, so to speak. And I want to be able to see if we are able to just give people a beverage or something that they can enjoy for whatever reason that they're enjoying it. Right. So we'll see where that goes. But I think it's very important that when we have new people or people who have jumped out of the coffee community, we have to be able to give them something that is wonderful, is great, that they can see, that they can understand, that they can probably enjoy, and they're cool to go down this rabbit hole. I think that's really the point of this beverage right here. This right here is a blend. And I talked about it a little yesterday. And the cool thing, the interesting thing about blends is that they can more so be whatever you want them to be. You still got to put in the work. You still have to roast the coffee. You still have to get the right ratio. Sometimes you may actually roast the coffee separately, and then other times you may roast it together. Right now, I'm kind of lazy, so I'm roasting it together. And I think it's a little bit easier that way. But we're going to play around and play. We're going to play around and see what we can do with this coffee. But right now, as I drink it right now, a 50-50 split of the Peruvian and also the Honduras coffee is that it doesn't have really an identity, a soul. It's just coffee. Again, that could be more so like also in the grind setting that I just did. Playing around with extractions. And that's the thing about it too. Even though I'm using this gear and trying to understand the things that I'm trying to do, right? Somebody else's extractions is somebody else's flavor. What I mean by that is that if I go by my protocol, my way of going about understanding coffee with my scientific background, which we'll talk about soon, is that my field of extraction may be somebody else's flavor profile of bitterness, of muddiness, of even fruitiness. And that's what either the same ratio or different ratio. So that's the beauty of all this really, is like, even though we are talking to each other, especially a lot of times in a place to where we're not really with each other, that's one of the things that's going to be very powerful, very impactful as we get out there and understand even more so with people. So it's interesting. Coffee is an interesting game. It's confusing. It can be very complicated. And as we keep going down that rabbit hole of trying to figure out what coffee really means to us, I think it gets to the point too where we are in a place of wonder And again, the beauty of coffee to me, even me being more of a loner wolf type of person, is that how you communicate and talk to other people about coffee, how other people feel and gravitate to their beverage, their preferences, and why they like what they like, right? So I think that's a cool way to see if we can get more out of coffee with people, with ourselves. And then, at times it can be like a metaphor to where we are understanding coffee even more so. But yeah, and we're understanding ourselves. So let's take another drink of this. Sip. It's getting better as it cools. It's less violent. It's less acidic. It seems like the coffees are melding together a little bit better. More of a warm type of feeling. Of course, it's still warm, right? So, of course, I should say that, right? But it doesn't still have that personality. Nothing that jumps out to you to where you're like, this is a fantastic cup of coffee. So, we're going to spend some time on this one. This one's quite interesting to see if we can actually get great flavors out of these coffees together. And a lot of times, that's the thing about this, is that many roasters, they don't do it like this. Some do it like this, but this is more so like an experiment. So we'll see what we learn from it. Is that they go down this road of sourcing and picking the coffees and thinking about how they taste individually. And then they may take 2 to 3 coffees and then they may pair it together. Sometimes it's even split. Sometimes it's not. And they keep playing around with different things and all that good stuff. And then they get to the point to where they have something of a masterpiece, something that does work. And I think with this coffee and the way I go about doing things, I think it's extremely important that I purposely have constraints. And in this case, I have to use these 2 coffees together. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 50-50 split, but I need to be able to figure out what's the ideal ratio of these coffees to bring the best out of them for people as a crowd pleaser. And I think that's going to be the fun part about this challenge, this journey. And as we keep going and understanding the things that we're trying to do, that's going to be extremely important as we figure this out, right? So I don't know how much time. I know on my recorder, it shuts off at an hour. And like I tell people all the time, I can talk to myself for a very long time. I know the first couple of podcasts that I've done, it was they were about 5-10 minutes here and there because I really didn't have much or didn't know what to talk about. But on this 86th episode, believe it or not, um, I can talk to myself. I can have topics that I could just have a topic, and it's not really so much planned out or scripted. But I'm talking from experience, and I think that's helpful, But we're gonna go ahead and get into the topic of the day before we go ahead and in this podcast. So, SCA, Society of Coffee Association, something like that. There's another SCA. A lot of them are called SCA for some odd reason. The other one that I remember is Sports Card Club of America. I was a part of that when I was in college. That was a lot of fun when I did that, but I started to hate autocrossing because autocrossing is fun, but the thing about autocrossing or a lot of things is that when you're in the car in the parking lot and you're going around cones, the racetrack could last about a minute, 50 seconds, a minute and a half, depending on the course. And then after that, you're working it. And you're working it a lot longer than you're actually driving. That always pissed me off. They should just have hired people to do that. And then you're still paying for it. But let me not get off tangent. But the Society of Coffee Association, something like that. You know what it is. Specialty Coffee Association. Yeah. So it's a very helpful organization, right? They have classes, they have protocols, procedures, they have licenses that you can get and all that stuff. And you'd have cupping, you have tasting, you have organizations, you have people coming together to understand coffee. And I think that's important. I think that's important because you have to have like a basis of like what you're really trying to do with coffee in this case, right? Because you do want to have a standard. You do want to set something in a place to where you are being able to see if coffee is more so. I appreciate it more so that from a sustainability side of it, meaning that I want coffee to be here as long as possible for everybody to enjoy. So if they're doing like data research and all that good stuff with coffee in order to prolong it or to make sure that the flavors are what they are and to help out the farmers where they can. Oh yeah, certifications too. Organic and fair trade and all that shit. As you see, I'm starting to get lively about that. But I think that's really the most important thing about the organization, really. It's about being able to make sure that coffee is going to be here for a very long time. And the way you do that to me is that you put out parameters, you see what's out there, and you get data to understand if something is sustainable or not, right? And then you develop protocols and talk to scientists and doctors and people in the field of growing the coffee to see what the issues are with climate change and all that good stuff, right? Again, sometimes you just don't know where these conversations are going to go. But I do see a point, a importance of the organization. But it's interesting though. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say red tape. There not so much red tape. If you can make it more red tape if you want it to be, but it's depending on how the level of you want to go. And I also have like roasting type of classes and and all that good stuff, right? And certifications and all that stuff. But the thing about it is that it is a professional organization, but not really. Nobody's gonna die because you didn't pass your test on a Q score, right? They may not like that coffee because you probably didn't represent it correctly. And when they do get it, it tastes like shit, right? But that's the thing about this, if you really want to think about it, is that coffee is coffee. And I think where I'm at with it is that I've been on the other extreme of professionalism, of profession, of certification, of standards. And I can see through a lot of bullshit. And me being a trained engineer, professional engineer, is that I see a lot of bullshit in that situation too. And in that situation, there's even more red tape. There's even more standards that you have to abide by and follow and figure out and make sure that you abide by them, right? And as I was going through school and understanding and racking my head through a lot of stuff, I put myself in those situations because that's what was required of me. You know, it's like somebody tell you to go to school and they don't really give you a reason why. Same thing here. You think that you need to do this because other people have gone through this, and this is just the way that you have to follow. And that's more so the things that I did. You do what you were told, right? You didn't really question much of anything. But then when you get into the theater, into the stage, into you're getting your opportunity to really understand or to really perform the things that you were told that you needed to do, then you start feeling a little way about it. You start questioning, why are they doing it this way? Why is this protocol important? I would like to do it this way. But if somebody tells you to do it this way, are you breaking the law or breaking a rule or whatnot? Don't get me wrong, you do have the leeway in this to really understand and to express yourself and to give your client or your boss a product that is worthy of safety, right? Of standards of protection and all that good stuff, right? But I guess what I'm saying is that I've gone through that before, and I'm still kind of going through that right now. So then when you have an organization like the Specialty Coffee Association telling you that you're now a professional and you have to have all these rules and guidelines and different certifications and all that stuff, you start to wonder, is like, wait, there's two things that's going on here. Meaning that you have an obligation to the organization that is trying to sustain coffee and to provide standards, right, to the everyday professional. And then as you grow and understand the things that you're trying to do, I think we lose sight into the most important thing here. Is yes, sustainability of coffee is important. But the true thing about it is that the other part of it, the way that it is going to be sustainable, is that people actually drink your coffee. That they come back every time, either to you or to some other coffee roaster. And I think that's the part that's lost in this, right? We have a flavor wheel. We talk about different things about coffee, right? How do we actually communicate that information to our clients? People who don't know anything about that. They trust you for that information. And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to realize, that what we're really doing and trying to get at. So yeah, I don't care about any certifications. Yeah, I'll look at things from time to time. But the thing about this is that when I dive deep into things, I dive deep into things. So I have so many other books. They're here, they're other places and all that stuff. But I've read so many different things about coffee, coffee roasting, coffee growing. One of the books, let me get it real quick. It's all about coffee. It's all about coffee. This right here. See? See that? This book, Coffee, Growing, Processing, Sustainable Production. You can see the stickies. This is not for show. Yeah, it may be a prop out there. I highlighted the shit out of this. I underlined different things. So when I go deep into something, I go deep into something. It doesn't matter if this was, I think, by Nestle or something like that. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that I spent my time. I put in the work to really understand this profession, to understand coffee. And think about it. If you have somebody that loves coffee and understands it and trying to understand it and try to gravitate to the things that mean so much to that person, and I'm able to give that back to a client, that's the most important thing here. So yeah, so I'm not sitting here on a high horse saying that the organization is shit. I'm really not. I'm just saying that if you're coming to me for certifications, for cupping protocols and tasting notes. And yeah, I'll give you tasting notes. But if you're coming to me for that type of like certification or that type of authority, then you come to the wrong place. Go to somewhere else. There's so many people that will tell you that they are Q grader certified. They will tell you that they follow this cupping protocol and they have these roasting standards. Fuck that. I have my own ways of doing things. I've learned so many things from other people, from books, and from my life. And I think that's extremely important. I think that's extremely important to the point to where you have to feel that person. None of us are going to be here forever. And as long as we try to put our stamps on things and understand the things that we're really trying to do and understand, that's really the most important thing. And I think, again, the most important thing really is about the people. The people who are drinking our coffee. That's truly how it's going to be. It has to be sustainable. Because we can have a very small bit of people drinking specialty coffee. But if majority of those people in the world don't want to spend that much money or don't see the specialness in specialty coffee or the specialness in coffee, then we've lost it. That's the real way that's going to be sustainable. We have to get people to keep drinking and loving coffee. We have to express it to them. We have to show them the way. We have to give them crowd pleasers. We have to be in a place to where we are stewards. And I really don't like that word. I really don't like that word of stewardness and all that good stuff. But that's really what we are. We are trying to give people a beverage that talks and sings to us every day. We're just trying to do that for them, right? And I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway in all the things that I'm trying to say right now. That's the sustainable part of it. It's not just about sustainability in the coffee world, because that's extremely important. But again, I'm the middleman, right? And that's the thing about business. If you understand business, is that there's one side to where you have a product, right? You understand the product. You can convey that message to people. And as you do that, you have a client on the other side, and you have to be able to give somebody the thing that you said that you're going to give them. And if there's any type of disconnect, an issue, then that's the thing that you're going to have to worry about the most, because that's the reason why people go out of business. And we have to understand people. People love what they love. And we have to understand it from their point of view. And we have to grow. We have to understand. We have to do it our way. Just like I said in the beginning, I don't want to keep harping about this, but it has to be fun for me too. Because if it's not fun for me, then why would I keep doing it? It's just like a day job. It's just like a job that you realize when you went to school and you tried something new, and they told you that there's a profession out there for you, and you go out there and then you put yourself out there, and then you get the certifications. You get the professionalism, you get the titles, right? And then as you keep going and getting these things and trying to understand this profession, you lose heart of like why you really did it. And that's one thing I'm not going to do here, is I'm not going to lose heart of why I'm here. We'll talk more so about why I'm truly really here, what I'm trying to do in this coffee world, right? And I think as we go delve deeper into you understanding who I am and getting a better understanding of that, I want to understand you. I know that's going to be very hard individually, but collectively, I think it's possible to be able to understand people even more so. And that's the beauty of this. So that's what I got for you right now. I know this was like a heavy one, sort of, kind of, but that's why I don't care about certifications. Because, the biggest thing, drive for me is people, is getting people to, even almost to an extent of getting people to enjoy my coffee, but giving them my personality and my scientific way of going about teaching people, you know, giving them a reason to try something different, you know, and I will learn from people too. So that's what I got for you. Talk to you later. Bye.